Yeah, welcoming you to our gathering today, Mondays for Gaza, as we've been on a full hunger strike for many weeks and months, and shifted to fasting on Mondays, which some of you may be doing. Just curious to get a show of hands, who's fasting today in their way, just to see, to witness. Um, yeah, thank you. And yeah, so just gonna give you a short overview of our day today, which is a gathering where we will acknowledge the current developments, which is the ceasefire that has happened and its implications. We will explore and hear a bit from the realities from Satyam, thoughts about this development, both the celebration and also the importance um, of the continuation of our work, especially now. Um, so we will start today with an update from Rueda. Who remembers Rueda, who was on the call when we showed her videos? I think a few. Yeah, beautiful. So I'm gonna say a few words more before I show a short update from her, and then we will welcome May with her opening prayer poem and a few updates and food for thought. And then we will welcome Fadwa, who is here with us already, and who will share with us about her story growing up in Nablus in the occupied West Bank, and also her journey to join the Divan Orchestra as a musician, and also her thoughts on the current situation. And after that, we'll take some questions. You have an opportunity to share or ask anything to Fadwa that you feel is relevant for you. And we'll go into breakout rooms. Let each one of you have a space to express the impact of what you've listened to, and also the question of the impact of the current developments, and to explore what is yours to continue in your way of being active or bringing your voice. So how can we together keep working towards our goals of bringing justice, dignity, safety, freedom to all people in the land? And we really truly see it as really the first step, the end of the fighting, the end of the bombing, the end of the violence. But truly, the work is just it's just starting actually that we have to do. So yeah, again, welcoming those who just joined, and I will start with sharing my screen. And before I do, as the hostages on all sides, however you want to call them, prisoners, are being exchanged, are being released, are coming home. Also, the people in Gaza returning to to what was their homes. And Ruwaida has been sharing her story. She's a journalist and a teacher, and she's been sharing with us just I think 2 weeks ago about her story. And we've also announced a raising of funds for her and her mother, who needs um, a lot of medical care. She needs an operation, and we're trying to support her as best as we can. And she has sent me a video of her returning to their home that they just finished fully renovating and building 3 months before 2 years ago. So she sent me the video of them arriving to what was their home. So I felt like sharing that with you. Can you see?
دور عام دور عامر هاي دور ولاد عامر هاي دور ولاد عامر دور ولاد النجار انا في نص المنطقه احنا هنا في نص المنطقه هاي دار عامر والعماير هاي الشارع الصغير تبعهم
Just maybe taking a moment to feel the impact of that. Imagine coming home after living in tents and just surviving for 2 years and coming back to your home. And I also want to share with you what she sent me was her home before, just which they finished renovating 3 months before, which was the birthday of her sister's son. Taking a breath, just letting that in. And acknowledging that this story of Rueda is just a story of thousands of people right now. That are between the joy of the end of the bombing and also the devastation of what is left of what they called home. Yeah, and with that, I would like to pass it to May, dear one.
Thank you, David. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for the ones who have been accompanying us all through the journey and the new ones. It's an honor. It's always an honor, and it's always such a reminder of our humanity, hope, and faith. I'm actually today speaking to you from Isaiah, Bethany, East Jerusalem, and where I lived in the beginning of Satyam. I haven't yet slept in my house. I'm staying at my brother's. But something in me felt it's time to also come back home. It is sad that it's such a day where celebrations shall be in our hearts and shall be the title, the calling, with the release of the hostages and the prisoners. And yet, with all of the relief, there is such a deep, deep grief of witnessing the reality, the different realities that this land holds. The release for the Israeli hostages has been filling the streets. Their families are all together. Each one of them went exactly back to their home, to everyone that they knew. Celebrated with their national flags being seen all over the world. Their pain is named to bits and pieces. They are honored. And yet on our side, we are told not to dare to celebrate. Already the army has raided the houses of the families since the words of the deal, threatening us not to celebrate, threatening us not to go to their homes, threatening us not to be on the streets, threatening us not to show any signs of celebration. So we sit on the screens, watch them come, one leg missing, cancers, handicapped, paralyzed, and most of them did not come home. They were sent to Gaza, and from Gaza they will be sent elsewhere. There is a price. There is always a price and power. There is always control. The occupation has raided my hometown today, and yesterday, and the day before yesterday, because we also have prisoners who they didn't make it here, none of them. None of them made it here, and none of them will make it here. And some of their families are not allowed to travel to meet them in Egypt or to meet them wherever they are sent to. So from one jail to another one, the occupation has been blocking every road, every road, every road, every breath, everything, everything. Yesterday, also, Saleh Jafarawi was killed in the hands of Palestinians who chose to collaborate with Israel, just like Israel launched Fatah and Hamas. Also during this genocide, they managed to also get Palestinians against each other. Where he made it through the genocide, 2 years of war, 9 other wars. And yesterday he was killed. And today his brother was released. So they didn't meet. He only learned about him when he arrived to Gaza. He asked, why isn't he here welcoming me? And they had to tell him his life was stolen by the spies, the traitors who Israel paid them and empowered them against the people in Gaza, against their own. And all over the Israeli news, we are being mocked. Either we birth our kids to kill them, or we kill each other. They question our motherhood, our fatherhood, our humanity. They believe that they love their kids more than we do, that they birth their kids for dreams and life and nova and festivals, and we birth our kids for them to be killed and occupied and dreams stolen. They don't see our doctors and poets, they don't see our comedians, they don't see our musicians, that they don't see our humanity. It's unseen, unhonored, unrecognized, dehumanized, controlled, doesn't distinguish, doesn't differentiate, it doesn't ask for justice, doesn't want justice. Settlers are threatening all over media, out, all over WhatsApp groups, that these prisoners, whoever makes it into the West Bank, will be murdered. Their homes are going to be burned just like they burned Hawara. This is what they are writing. Helicopters were all over Ofar jail today in Ramallah, sending notes, don't dare to celebrate, or other else. In Isawiya, in Shafat, in Beit Hanina, in East Jerusalem, kids, Kurd and fish. They were brought by the Israeli police all the way to their home, handcuffed, screamed at in front of the door for their moms not to come out, telling them to go inside, to shut up and go inside, not to make a noise, not to hug. The destruction in Gaza and the sicknesses. And this is when the work starts. All what we have been doing before is just to bring back a bit of faith. But now the work starts. Now justice needs to come. Now our turn and our part and our responsibilities are even bigger and much more needed. Much more needed. Our hunger strike maybe should start again. For justice. For justice. For my justice. For the justice of my daughter. For the justice of my friends and their kids with no legs and no hands. Today there was a huge big explosion in Gaza. Killed 2 kids because of what the military has left behind. And more will come, as we saw in the last 9 wars. They leave the lands full. The threats from the Israeli government that the moment we receive the hostages, we will do our best to go back to war. We will do our best. And this is when our voice shall be even louder. This is when your writing is much, much needed. This is when media should be used the most for joint, for real justice and freedom. So much grief of what is known, and so much yet to come from what we don't yet know. In the West Bank, in Gaza, everywhere in the land, the trauma, what it means to clean, what it means to rebuild, what it means to heal, what it means to be in a community again and again and again and again and again and again and again, in healing circles, in retreats, in NVC workshops, in nonviolent resistance, trauma work. Now is the work as we acknowledge it in Satyam. It's even more. It's the most needed in every way, in every cell. And we are all needed. I need you. I need you to heal. I need you to condolence me, to strengthen me, to join me with my daughter again, with my family, with my brothers who I don't see. One of them was sick in the hospital yesterday. He's 15 minutes away from me, Salah. He held Ikumi for so many years, the first Israeli-Palestinian community. 15 minutes. I cannot see him. I cannot see him. I cannot see Lily. I have to choose between her safety and my motherhood. And yet, yes, I want to celebrate. I want to celebrate the release of the hostages, their mothers, their families, that they are healthy, they are okay, they will be held, they were sent to the best hospitals and it's shaked up. I want to celebrate the Palestinian prisoners who their family lost hope of ever seeing them again. The mothers who thought their kids were killed in Gaza and today they learned that they were actually kidnapped in the Israeli jail. They received calls that no, your kids were not killed. They are being released. Ruwaida and every Ruwaida, she's every woman in Gaza, every mother and every sister. She's everyone. She's me. She's us. She's us. She's us. They are us. Every one of them on both sides is what makes a community. If one of them is not there, then it's not a real community. Then it's a one-sided community. So we insist with all the pain and the grief and the occupation, the humanization. We choose, and we insist to choose on this togetherness, on being with you on the day of release, on being with you here, because it is what gives us power. It is what empowers us, is this. It's this. I sit here and there are shooting outside. Tomorrow they are handing the body of 4 Palestinians from my hometown, which some of them is held for more than 5 years. We are not allowed to have funerals tomorrow. They chose where to bury them. They are already closing the town down, the Mount of Olives, the Mount of Healing, where Jesus raised Lazar from death. This is where it took its name, Lazarus, Lazariya, where healing, where the mosque and the church are in the Mount of Olives, overseeing the Wailing Wall. Tomorrow will be a day of pain, witnessed in bodies being hidden, buried way before they are hugged, without being hugged, without being honored. There is so much to say, so much to stand up for, so much to hold. And the only way is this. I leave my family to be with you. because I know it's the only way for my family to stay together, if we stay together. The only hope for my family to reunite, to have one meal again. One meal is through us, through Satyam, through what I believe that is the only way, the only way, the only way that we continue to choose both, honor both, and to see both, and to fight for real justice, really true justice, really true freedom, true release. No more jails, no more Palestinian prisoners, no more hostages, no more occupation, dehumanization. And I'm only humanized if you humanize me. Only if you humanize me am I humanized. I can only be a mother if you name me as such. If you name me as such, can Lily be with me? Can Aram be with me? If you join me, if you fight also with me for it to happen, and see our willingness in Satyam to do whatever it takes, whatever it takes, whatever it takes, whether through a genocide or the release, that we are always together, one community, deeply committed even when we are being separated from our own. I will always fight for every mother to have her child with her, because I know the pain. Because I know this is how it should be. This is how it should be. Aram should be sitting with me. You should have known her by now so well after so many months. I know it's really hard, and I know I have wished to sit here smiling and laughing and celebrating and saying, ceasefire. It's ceasefire from one side. That's not true. It's release, the deal, but it's one-sided. It's one-sided. It's not the fully true. Reunion, yes, one-sided. One-sided, not both. So we celebrate with so much grief and acknowledgement that we have only started. Now is the work. Now is the calling for more joint work. Now is the calling to support the voices, these voices, the joint, the work of the joint, the community, to support Satyam, Homeland, and other organizations that truly work on this joint through freedom and liberation. And that we are joined. We are together, Palestinians, Israelis, internationals, from everywhere, but mainly Palestinians and Israelis, standing together, healing together, leading together, reclaiming the freedom and justice for each other, empowering and healing each other, whilst acknowledging the reality. And I am deeply honored. It's my healing, it's my comfort to be with you and to have a space to bring this voice, to bring my voice, honestly, my truth, my fully truth as it is, as it is. Thank you. And I'm sorry, I'm really unable to read my poetry. I will leave it for another time. So I thank you Hand it back to David. Thank you.
Yeah, just take a moment to breathe, to feel your body, to feel your heart. Thank you for speaking truth and bringing your voice, even if it's painful, that we need to hear it. In order to heal, we need to hear it. We need to acknowledge. And I feel that that only from here we can start to build something more true. So, yeah. Thank you, May. Thank you, dear. I love you. Thank you.
Thank you, Habibi. Too. Thank you.
Yeah, you're just inviting again to take a breath and move your body a bit, just that we help our nervous systems to not move into freeze, but to actually know we can regulate, we're alive, make some space for yeah, extend our capacity to be with life. Yes. And yeah, I would love to welcome Fadwa. Yeah, if you have a comment, as some of you do, you can always write it in the chat. We're also following. And yeah, thank you for writing. And I would love to welcome Fadwa, and just to name already that after listening to Fadwa, we will have space also to share the impact of what we're hearing. So one of the things that is really in the core of what we believe is that as we meet, we have impact, and it's important to give space to that as well, and to hear each other, to allow that digestion to take place. So just be assured that we'll have some space for that. And yeah, warmly welcoming you, Fadwa. Just so grateful and so honored that you are willing to also share with us a little bit about your story, about how it was for you to grow up in Nablus, which is a town in the occupied West Bank, and your journey to play for the Divan Orchestra, which is a joint orchestra which brings people together, musicians from Palestine, from Israel, and also from other Arab countries, with a vision to create something shared that can be an inspiration of what we could be together. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome. And
Shukran.
I was honored to meet Fadwa also for a day in person in Salzburg when they were playing. So, yeah, sweet memories of that.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. thank you so much for being here and for giving me this chance to share with you my very humble story. I'm really happy to be speaking to you, because if I know anything about you, it's that it's throughout Mai and David. And these two people, really, I think it's fair enough to say they changed a bit the course of my life. And they gave me real understanding and connection. And ever since, I didn't want to lose them from my life. I just kept connection with them, and I'm really, really happy to be joining you here. And I'm happy that you also are connected to them in this way. And because I think they are working with real courage and honesty, and a vision that not many of the people in the world dare to have, which is a call for unity, and a call for real justice, a call for truth, of sharing who you are, really, because growing up, I didn't have these many places where I could be myself, especially when it was not around Palestinians. When there's a third eye, let's say, a third party who, other than Israelis, we always, as Palestinians, have to modify how we talk and modify our feelings even. We're not even allowed sometimes to feel what we feel. It's really something very deep, this colonial relationship to ourselves. And it's very important to meet people like Mai, because something about this complex gets resolved and you allow yourself to be. You really need free people to be free. So that's why I believe in community, and that's why I believe their work is really important, and that's why I am joining also my voice to them. So thank you so much for having me. I would like to say that I was born in 1995, so just 1 year into Oslo Accords. So I'm a young person of the Oslo Accords. I lived what it meant for Palestine to be dependent of Israel in water, in economy, in air, in land. We'd never had real independence. So whoever tells you that Oslo Accords was independence of any sort, it was not. Of course, raising amounts of checkpoints, settlements, and this is something that I've seen over the years. Every year, more settlements, every year, more settlers, more army. So my life was very much shaped by the presence of settlers in the West Bank. And of course, the very blatant limitation of movement, which my life now is complete opposite, because now I chose to live in Europe, which is not something very easy for a Palestinian to choose. Because Europe, in all its democracy and freedom, it still upholds superiority laws. You still have to be excellent, and you still have to be one of a kind to be able to stay in Europe. You have to play a very big instrument and to marry one of their own in order to be able to stay. So it's not like a very free land for everyone, as you know. But we're not there to talk about Europe. We're there to talk about Palestine and the West Bank and my upbringing in Nablus. So as I said, I was born in 1995, and 5 years in, or like 6 years in, I witnessed the second Intifada as a 6-year-old, obviously. And I remember that we were displaced to my grandparents' house. And it's funny because I never thought of myself as displaced, but I now remember that we were displaced for 2 to 3 months in my grandparents' house. And one time we wanted to go back to our house, and there was a tank, an Israeli tank that separated the east of Nablus from the west of Nablus. And I remember my mom shouting at an Israeli soldier, and the tank drove to our car and pointed its trunk on us. And I remember that being the goodbyes, my goodbyes to my mom. I left my sister and my mom, and I took my brother because I really loved him. I just grabbed him by the hand with his school bag, and I left the car. I'm happy that the soldier did not do anything more. But my mom, I remember she continued shouting at him, even though he was still in front. And I was really amazed by my mom because I was like, wow, like even with this dynamic of power, she's still shouting. And even with this immediate threat on us, she's still shouting. And I think that was insane. And now thinking about this, I feel like I know where my courage comes from, because I always continued to shout and to speak for myself, even no matter what the danger was. So I thank my mom, who is here actually in this call. Yeah, so I went back to the car, nothing happened, and the tank went. Of course, it sounds very romantic now, but it wasn't. I wrote many things to talk about, but I want to focus on how I got to the music, because in Nablus we had actually a siege on Nablus. I think it was, I'm not so sure, but how long it was, maybe 2 or 3 years of siege in Nablus. We could not leave the city, and I remember that very well. I remember that my aunt lived in Hebron, and we wanted to visit her many times, and we couldn't, obviously. And I remember Nablus being kind of dead economically, and this is also what we've been living the last 2 years with the war on Gaza. Much of the economy has died in the West Bank. So I lived with these memories from the Intifada and the siege. And I grew up very much an idealist. I thought only if I was smart enough, only if I was outspoken enough, I would change the world. I would save Palestine. God, just give me the chance to share the truth about Palestine, and everyone will believe me, and everyone will come for help, to help me, to help us. Needless to say, that was not the case. And I was, while living in Europe now, faced with many situations of dehumanization and disbelief. And as Mai said, when they question your motherhood and your fatherhood and your own existence, this is really deep, and this is very hurtful as a person, as a feeling to any person, and therefore I'm all for any act or any resistance to this. I just went to the music school that has just opened in Nablus. That was how I got into the music. And I went with a violin. I had played violin for like a couple of months when I was younger, and I went with my old violin. And I went to the school and I told them I want to play violin. And they told me, sorry, we don't have space for violin. But if you want, there's a huge instrument and we have a teacher for it. And we would like for you to play it. It's the double bass. And you will be one of maybe the only woman in Palestine who would play this instrument. And you know what? When you walk in the street, people will look at you and be like, that's the bassist. And I just liked it, you know? I was like, yeah, you know, it fits my ego. It's perfect. And I was like, okay, sure. And my teacher at the time was maybe 35. I was 16, he was 35-year-old artist. He was a former mechanic. He plays also nai, you know, this Arabic flute or Oriental flute. And he was very sensitive man. He was a very sensitive man. And he was a very kind man. And he really was a friend for me. And so I really loved him, and I loved the instrument, and I loved everything about the music. 1 year in, he recommends me to join the Palestine Youth Orchestra. And with this orchestra, I go to Jordan. And I'm like, what is this life? I'm going to Jordan, no parents, having fun. I'm performing in Amman. The year after, Norway, UK, France, Oman, you know, Turkey, I think. I forgot even where we went. I'm like, what is happening to me? Just because I'm playing this instrument. I get to travel this much. And every concert, hundreds, thousands of people are coming, and they're wearing kufiyas, they're bringing the flags, and it's a huge celebration. We play some Tchaikovsky, some Mozart, some something, and then some Arabic music, and everyone starts to dance and doing dabke, and at the end of each concert is another concert. And I'm like, my God, doing art is the best thing in the world, because you get to connect to so many people. We went and played in Holland in Concertgebouw, and I'm like, I'm playing Concertgebouw with Palestine Youth Orchestra. This is amazing. And the slogan of the orchestra was, today an orchestra, tomorrow a state. So I really liked it. I was like, yeah, if we can do an orchestra, we can do a state. Why not? Then I go to France to study, actually not music, but something else. And when I was there, by coincidence, I joined the conservatory, and my teacher encouraged me to do more music. And then I went to Berlin to the Barenboim Said Academy. And I did 5 years there of double bass. And it was a very big shift for me, because the level, you know, in Germany, in Berlin, it's like really the elite of classical music. And it was really huge, and I really needed to work a lot in order to make up for my last fun times with the double bass. Now suddenly became very serious, and I had to practice a lot. And it was really something. Of course, I don't know how much you know about the Barenboim and the Edward Said story, but since I'm a product of this academy, I can tell you that they had met before, Barenboim and Edward Said together, and both were fans of each other. And talking to each other, they realized that they have so much in common, so much feelings for justice. Both were idealists also, and both were looking many steps in advance. And they decided to create this orchestra, the Divan Orchestra, in 1999, I believe. And then in 2016, the academy was created, and I joined the academy in 2020. And so during my studies, I had the music focus, but also I had a lot of philosophy, lots of focus on humanities, Edward Said's writings, and lots of conferences about politics. And I have to admit that I had no idea about Germany before I went to Germany. When I went to Berlin, I had no idea. Like, as a Palestinian, I'm fed up already with my life. You know, like my life is already too much. So I didn't have any space to know about Germany, the Holocaust. the Nazis. Wow, German language, I had no idea. I was living in France at the moment, and I was speaking French, and already I was understanding what Europe was. And then suddenly I go to Germany, and we visit the Jewish memorials, and I learned so much more about the Holocaust, and I learned so much more about Nazism and all that. And then when the war starts in October 2023, I have Germans coming up to me and telling me, I was really worried about Gaza because from our history, we know that any attack on Israel results in massive destruction for Palestinians. So I was just sharing this with a German person. And this German person tells me, but you know, 7th of October is one of a kind event for Israelis. And it might be true. But what he continues to say, he tells me, you guys, you're used to this violence. Like, it's okay what's going to happen to Gaza, but like 7th of October is like horrendous. And already, like, we're talking 1,000, 2,000 dead in Gaza. And like, do you even hear yourself? Like, I'm used to the killing of my own people. Like, can you have just one bit of empathy, please? And of course, Germany starts displaying Israeli flags everywhere and supporting Israel in the offensive. And I really feel like a big dissonance between me and Germany, and I had lots of emotions to go through. I had to understand that actually European Jews were Europeans, and so they were like the citizens of Germany, and they were killed by their own citizens, by their own fellow citizens. And I couldn't understand anti-Semitism. I couldn't understand because in my blood as a Palestinian, I don't understand how you can just revolt on another citizen. They just like dehumanize another citizen. I could understand if someone was not from your nation, or you are growing up like what's happening in Israel, Palestine. I can understand this, right? Because this is my life. But I couldn't understand anti-Semitism. And then I understood that anti-Semitism is something European. And I was really shocked by how many Europeans were coming to me, the Palestinian, to rant about their guilt by dehumanizing me. So I know this is long, but I had many people, French, Dutch, German, coming to me. Tell me, you know, but so they are processing their own anti-Semitic history, and by dehumanizing the Palestinian and by justifying the violence that's coming on me. And I didn't understand that at the time. I'm like, what's happening? Why are they attacking me? I'm the one being attacked in my home. So as a Palestinian, I feel like I have to rationalize a lot of things from many places. And I'm thinking to myself, it would be much easier if I just live in Palestine, because I wouldn't have these dynamics. I wouldn't know these histories, these so complicated histories. But as the Jewish are the victims of the Holocaust, now we cannot say we don't know. We have to know what happened. We have to understand Europe's complicity with anti-Semitism, but we also have to refine the speech about Palestine. So now that I am here and I joined the Divan, I have to explain so many things to my fellow colleagues from everywhere, the Israelis and the Europeans and the Arabs, Turkish, the Iranians. So the Divan is like a mix of Middle Eastern countries and also European countries and also American, with a focus on Palestine, Israel, but it's also bigger. And I think it's very simple in its core as an idea, like just bring people together. And somehow it seems very revolutionary because the reality in itself is so violent. So I think if we had less violence, this this orchestra wouldn't be something special. It's just, I feel like we have to go back to basics. And in this orchestra, I feel like we do. We give the chance for everybody who wants to join this orchestra to come together and to speak, just like here, and to share. And I have to say also that I did lots of joint programs since I was 15. I did Hands of Peace, Seeds of Peace. So even when I was a teenager, I traveled to the US and I sat and talked to Israeli teenagers. As myself, I was a teenager. And so at some point, I understood that it was not about this exchange of you did this, you did that. Like this had to stop. This, who's more of a victim? And I had to understand what's the extra level now? What's the one step in advance more in this? And in the Divan Orchestra and in these joint programs and in this joint platform, for example, I find this extra step because it does bring people together on another level. It's not more about, do you condemn this or that, or are you with this or that? It's more like, you are here and I'm here. Let's work together. And I find this more pragmatic, more human. And I have to say that what I had to go through, not so many people go through it. To live outside of Palestine already gives some distance. And this Edward Said talks about, by the way, the responsibility of Jews and Palestinians who live outside Israel-Palestine to make these bridges. This is actually our responsibility, those who live outside, because when you live outside, you can have a bit of distance. Because when you are inside the land, it's much more difficult not to focus on the daily violence, especially for Palestinians. And also, I wanted to tell you how hard it is for me to play this role of advocate and raising awareness all the time about myself. Because, at some point you're like, I don't want to talk about myself anymore, or my experiences, or my suffering. It's not so important anymore. Now that, for example, this genocide in Gaza, what can we even start to where can we put the bandage? Like where, from which wound, I think we should be much more insisting on human values, much more empowered. We have to understand that evil can be so banal sometimes. It comes from stupid people sometimes. Hannah Arendt talks about this in her book, Eichmann in Jerusalem, The Trial of Eichmann in Jerusalem. And she talks about how bureaucratic systems and how societies nowadays normalize violence because you just have to get the order, right? This is what happens in the IDF. They just get the order and they do it. They don't have to be smart in order to be evil. Evil is something can be very banal, done by lack of criticism, done by an ignorance of impact. So when we don't consider what the impact of what our actions do, we can easily be doing evil. If we don't critically engage in what we're told to do, we could actually be doing evil. So we have to be very careful what we do. I don't know what to say anymore.
Thank you, dear.
You're welcome.
Maybe we can see if there's a question also that in a few minutes we want to go to breakout rooms. I would actually please write your questions in the chat if you have some.
I actually want to share something about Edward Said, just to encourage also everyone. They contacted me a few months after the war, and they asked me to travel to Berlin to hold an NPC, to facilitate NPC sessions for the Divan Orchestra. As Fadwa said, some of them are Israelis and some are Palestinians, Arabs from the Middle East, and Jewish also from everywhere. And some of the Israelis had gone personally through the 7th of October and the Nova Festival, lost family members and friends. And same for the Palestinians. And I remember when they contacted me and we started talking, my heart was shaking because I knew how big of an orchestra it is and where is Edward Said, and I had so much in my heart to also that shaked and fear of, can I actually hold such a big process, such a deep process, healing and trauma and NVC and as a therapist and personnel and together and big groups and small groups. And I remember a moment of talking to some of my friends and some of them, and David was one of them, consulting with them. And then I said, yes, I will come, I will do it. And through the process to see from where we started, from 4 people joining, 5 people, then 15, then 20, then the 100 of them, and to see how we started from a place of like really not wanting to speak, not wanting to communicate, even the pain, even the grief, how hard it was for them to come, and then to see how I ended up calling David because the whole 100 were there and they really, really wanted wanted to come and to share and finally to speak and communicate and talk about very hard things, the genocide and why is it a genocide and is it a genocide, and statements and standing up and the power of music in nonviolent resistance being a tool, such a very strong tool. And also it is the vision of the most beautiful 2 people of music in the world that made and said, oh, this could be one of the most powerful tools to be used. And to see how NVC, how this healing work actually did at the end bring them together and allowed more space for truth and honesty and meeting and sitting with the pain and the grief and denial and acknowledgement as well. It gave such a, it went for many months. The last one was the whole tour with them, so I got to witness them also playing most powerfully, but also to see how they chose as the Divan Orchestra to actually say, come, come, let's hold them together, let's bring the voices, let's facilitate, let's use every tool. And then they said, call David Genati. So he also came and we facilitated together. I facilitated the whole journey, and then he joined for the last one of decision making and statement making. And it is still a process still going, but to see the power and the choice, how they believe that through NVC, through meeting, through sitting, through communication, acknowledgement, actually healing could come, and the power of music and nonviolent resistance could be actually seen even more. And we got the honor now to have Fadwa and Samir and so many of them we're in touch with, that they have seen the work of community and healing. So just to encourage you. And thank you, Fatwa Habibti. It's such an honor and healing to have you with us. And your mama, Lena is her mama. We're also working with her. So thank you also, Lena Habibti, for a beautiful daughter and your courage and your screams in the middle of the streets in Nablus. We honor you. Ahlan. Yeah.
Thank you, May. So my impulse would be, because there are some, first of all, there's some just sharings. Can you read also the chat, Fatwa? Are you aware?
Yeah.
So there's some appreciation coming.
Thank you so much.
Deep thank yous for you, for your voice, strength, truth, teaching. Yeah, let's hear 2 or 3 voices from you before we pass it back to Fadwa. Something meaningful you've been taking from the conversation so far. And let's keep it to essence so we can hear a few. Yeah, Nehemiah? Nehemiah? So there's a recommendation for a documentary.
Okay, I can speak now.
Yes.
So I hope I don't take too much space because I'm an expressive character. So if I do, you can shut me up.
Yeah, just please see that you keep it to essence.
Okay. So the people shared in my group very deep empathy. We all here, maybe shouldn't compare, but maybe in my observation, the most empathetic group I ever met. And it's not the only one. But two things happened. There's a shift in the world. I broke down the rule because I was running to a doctor and wanted to give people optimism. The shift is coming and the shift is happening. It will take many years, but it's happening. The pendulum started moving in the other direction and we played part of it. After Andrew spoke, September 8th, the people in the world start to rebel. After we talked last week, things start to happen. So it's not just happened because of us, but we are part of it. And the last thing I want to share is coming from the teaching of Patanjali, the great yogi, and I practice meditation, and so Elmo does in his way. I think we can contribute even more. Beside empathy, we bring ourselves to a good place of peace and some of joy for what happened in our life. Still feel the empathy, but don't drown in the pain, because then we can help even more if we can uplift ourselves, and then it's easy to uplift others. So that's my experience, that's my understanding, and I wanted to share it. That's it.
Thank you, dear. Someone else wants to share something that touched you or that you're taking from your group, from this conversation so far. And there's also sharings in the chat. Yeah, Masha.
Well, what touched me was May's heart and May's words and May's experience that she shared with us. And Fadwa's words and heart and the complexity of how she's grown through and to this understanding in herself and who she has become and continues to become in her life and her voice. Was very moved by the complexity and the beauty of that, and by Lena, her mama, being right here to witness her, because you are her mama.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
Another voice wants to share some impact, something that's moving you.
This is Mayor.
Hey, Mayor.
I was so moved to hear about this orchestra that you join, that what you expressed about the orchestra, the Palestinians and Israelis and internationals all making music together. And then having the NVC come in and Mai come, and I think it was also David came, and they practice not just music, but actually communicating to connect with each other. It was just so inspiring for me. But just, we can sing and play together, we can work and live together.
So I just really appreciate that. It's why I founded the country, emerging country of Abrama, is seeing that it's a place where all people and all nations and all Palestinians and Israelis can play and sing and work and live together. It can happen. It can happen. Yeah. If the orchestra can do it, it can be done. Thank you.
Thank you, dear. Yeah, maybe let's see. Maybe there will be more voices after, but there were two questions that were posted, and one was that what are your feelings about the ceasefire, and another one was would you be willing or able to share how German guilt would work against you? So these are two questions, and
Yeah, actually, I will start with the second question,
yeah,
which is how does the German guilt, or if it ever, if it ever affected me. I have to say that Germany is extremely complicit in the genocide in Gaza because they provide 30% of the weapons to Israel, even after the International Court of Justice prevented or suggested that it could be a genocide, and after it was confirmed and there was a consensus, it still continues to provide weapons. And Germans like to German government. I have to be precise. German government likes to always frame it as a continuation of their support to the Jewish people, which I think is extremely mistaken because they refuse the other Jewish voices. And in Germany, there is a preferred Jewish person and there is the unpreferred Jewish person. So the preferred Jewish person is a Zionist. And the unpreferred Jewish person is any peace activist or any person who calls for solidarity with Palestinians. And we've seen this, and there's a lot of police brutality in Germany against activists, against German activists, against Palestinian activists, against Jewish activists. And this is very blatant when you see it, when you see Jewish people being attacked in Germany. And you're like, this is extremely paradoxical because they, put on a pedestal, of course, the Jewish person that brings them money in the end. When they support with 30% the weapons, they are making a lot of money with it. And here I have to say that we have to also to make sure to look where the money is going, because there are a lot of technological companies now who are developing AI systems for drones, for things that were tested on Palestinians in Gaza. And many of these companies are European and American. So, for example, the owner of Spotify, he invested 600 million into an AI drone company. So this is my call to boycott Spotify, and also Uber, because they're also complicit and they're supporting and they're putting their money in this warfare money. And we have to really, there's like a big boycott list, and I really encourage everyone to look at it and to see what are the reasons to boycott. And we see that many of these companies and many of the money is going to warfare, and they just want to keep making wars. So Germany is very much complicit in their actions, in their words of dehumanizing Palestinians. They copy Israeli propaganda per word. They have das Bild, or like the Bild newspaper is extremely Zionist. They dehumanize Palestinians on every possible level. And I know this from journalists, German journalists who work in these TV one in Euronews who just shares with me how much every story gets rewritten and redone in a way to support the narrative of dehumanization of Palestinians, and of course of this victimhood of the eternal victimhood of the Jewish people, as if a Jewish person cannot become at some point evil, which is also a dehumanization, because also all humans can become evil. So even Palestinians can become evil one day, and they were evil in some days. So it's not so like it's really paradoxical. And even there's a poet by the name of Mahmoud al-Ghassan, I think, or Ghassan al-Mahmoud, Madhoun, sorry, Ghassan al-Madhoun. And he talks about how German government has a superior tone with talking to to Israeli government, and telling them, don't worry, this is not genocide, what you're doing. This is self-defense, because we know what genocide is. We're the masters of genocide. And even in this claim that you don't know what genocide is, no, Israel is not committing genocide. And so even in this tone, there's a kind of superior knowledge from German government to the Jewish people or to the Israeli government. Excuse my going back and forth between Israeli and Jewish. Because, you know, when Israel misuses the Judaism in order to justify itself. So this is one question. I hope I gave you an example of how it can become complicit, how Germany is complicit. The second one was how
That's on maybe you want to add something on the impact of the ceasefire or something.
Of course, yes.
That's important for you, for us to hear from your perspective.
From my perspective is, I think you also share, we all know this, like now there's a lot of work to be done in Gaza, and from cleaning the toxic materials, from cleaning the sea, from rebuilding the school system, the medical systems, all the systems need to be redone, need to be rebuilt. Of course, when Israelis left Gaza in 2000 or something like this, I imagine when there was like the settlements and they left, they killed a child just on the way out. This is just to tell you who we are dealing with. This government, this army is so far from morality. They, as Mai said, they leave dolls with bombs. They leave. Even I, as a West Bank, when I was little, I was told not to touch any doll that was on the ground, because you never know if it's bombed or filled with toxins or whatever. So we deal with a government that is extremely malicious and that have evil in every level of system. And then, as I said, it has so many people who follow it without criticism. So we have to wake people up. As May told me when were in the Divan, he told me, this is a battle of consciousness. It's not a battle of religion. It's not a battle of ideologies. It's a battle of consciousness, of waking up to what is good and to what is evil, and to stopping the evil. And I really believe so, because you can go back and forth with who did what and history and facts and all that, but that's not what it matters. That's not what matters. I mean, what matters is that we take one step more, 5 steps more up, and to take people in with humanity. And so my feelings on the ceasefire, the occupation is not over. I don't recall that any country in the world wants Palestine to be free, or that they want Palestine to be independent or sovereign. So we are far from having any political rights as we should. So the ceasefire, what is the ceasefire? I think it's an attempt to build back Israel's economy a bit. It's an attempt to, to fix the last edges that would break everything. If it continues the war, many things worse for Israel will happen. I don't know, maybe it's gotten too expensive, it's getting too dangerous for Netanyahu now to continue, or is very simply not beneficial anymore. So I don't think it was a sudden wake-up call to stop the war, or I don't know how what Trump promised Netanyahu, what Hamas, what they were promising to each other. Nobody really knows. But the ceasefire, it's good because at least there was no more bombs falling from the sky. But the produce will be toxic. The water is toxic. Already some babies are being born with weird things, without eyes and with big tumors. And so what are we talking about? It's far from over.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and something I just want to pick up on something that you say, that one of the things that you also mentioned, the part of the rehumanization is also, in a way that we see it in Satyam, is to acknowledge our capacity to be causing harm as humans, and our capacity to care. And that no group of people is free of that. So to choose sides and stand by one side is always problematic, because there is no right sides. There's people that work towards care and more love, and there's people that work from other motives everywhere, and it's a deeply human thing. And we have to distinguish, we have to discern, and we have to join forces with everyone that works towards justice and freedom and more dignity for everyone. And who holds that consciousness is our ally everywhere. And no matter the label, no matter where they're from. And so there's forces that want to live in dignity, Israelis, Jewish, and work towards that. And there's also Palestinians that, despite all the occupation, all the violence, they still work for it. And May is one of the examples of it. And you, Fadwa, as well. And this is something that we try to bring more and more in the awareness through our work, to show each other, wow, there's human beings everywhere, and they want to live together everywhere in dignity and peace and freedom. And this is the work, actually, that we remind each other. It is that we need to join forces with everyone who is our ally. And the rehumanization is part of acknowledging our capacity for violence or doing good. And we choose, each one of us has this choice. And
I want to share one last thing, if I can. I joined a team of Palestinian actors in the end of September, and we made a short movie, a 15-minute movie. It's called Gaza Eyewitnesses, and it will be premiered in Berlin on the 1st of December. And the aim is to share, so we're sharing testimonies from Gaza. So different people, different ages, very different stories, from massacres to weddings, and it's really sad, and it was very difficult for me to work on it, but I made the music part, and I played some improvisation in the movie, and I will share to David and Mai how you can watch it later.
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. everyone who stayed until now, all the way, almost half an hour more, just to give some more space to, yeah, to listening, receiving you, Fatwa, and your sharing of your story and your thoughts, and yeah, your perspective as someone who grew up and lives now in Europe. And
But I will go back to Palestine. I will not stay in Europe. Maybe in some time, but that's my aim.
yeah. So I recognize there are so many more questions that we could ask you and so much more we could talk about, and also just acknowledging that, yeah, we've overpassed time, and just wanting to give a deep gratitude for you to come and share with us, and you raising your voice and speaking for humanity, for everyone, and keep showing what you see so that people can see. And all of you for joining and being with us in this, yeah, in this moment of time where a lot is moving, and there's a lot of work to do, a lot of rehumanization to do, a lot of care that is needed. Deeply, deeply grateful for each one of you, your presence, and maybe there's someone that wants to close us with a song or with a poem, a short one. Someone has something? I see you smile, Markavina. Yes. You're muted, darling.
We were eight. Oops, wrong. Hold on. Technical problems. We were 8 people here in Philadelphia, and this is by an American composer, the words peace, salam, shalom. So we've been circling our city hall singing this on Mondays. Peace, salam, shalom. 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 Peace, salam, shalom.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your hearts, everyone. Thank you for your voice. May there be peace, just peace for everyone. Soon. Very, very soon.
Mhm.
And if you choose to join, next week we'll have, I forgot her name, and now I don't have it present, but someone from the US that has been taking our, Marka, you can, what's her name again?
Yes, Rabbi Nancy Fuchs Kramer, who's here, who is one of the key organizers of our peace coalition here in Philadelphia, and who is going to share with us about the work we've been doing here.
How they've been taking Mondays for Gaza a few steps further in their community as an inspiration for all of us. And just wanting to name that if you choose to, if you have to give, Rueda will really need a lot of support. So we hope that we will be able to support her with your help to rebuild home, and care for her mother's operation that's needed, and support her family. And also May and Fadwa and Samir and who else?
Lena.
Lena, will be going to a grieving ceremony in Switzerland for a few days, and we're also still collecting funds for them to be going because yeah, as you know, flying out of Palestine is extremely expensive. So to have some space to grieve, and yeah, so if you want to support any of that, you're so welcome to do that directly to Satyam account, and just as a reference put Ruwaida or May's grieving ceremony. And yeah, thank you everyone. Much love to you. Thank you for staying all
Thank
the
you
way.
all.
Sonia, Elmao, Judith, Andrea,
Thank
Leah, of
you.
course,
Yes, Elena.
Elizabeth,
And
Elena.
yes. Can
Thank
we share again how do people reach Ruwaida for the Arabic? Do we?
Yeah, we posted in our group. You can learn Arabic with Ruwaida, and it's also a way to support her. So if you have not seen that in our group, write me personally and I'll forward it to you.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you so
Fatwa
much for
Habibti.
having
It's
me.
an honor
Thank you.
to have you. Thank
Thank
you,
you so much.
Habibti.
It's shared in the donation for Ruwaida and the support for Ruwaida, and also the Arabic lessons are shared in the chat. So you
Yes.
can see it there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ruby
Thank
Habibti,
you.
Have a
for
good
your
Take
evening.
support.
care.
Thank you, everybody,
Thank
for
you,
coming.
Thank
Fadwa.
you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you all.
Much love.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. See you soon. Bye bye.
Much
Lena
love.
Habibti.
Hi, Lena.
Happy to have you. And we'll see you all soon. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Blessings to all of you, holding all of you. Thank you. Thank you, David
Welcome.
Habibi.
Thank you, May.
Habibi. Thank you.
يعطيكم العافية. باي باي.
تكرمي قلبي. Bye bye.
نحكي. باي باي.